and we're live.
Woo! There was a lot of build up there.
There was.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
We're great. Can't believe it's already Sunday.
I know.
It's been going by so fast.
Yeah. Well, I felt like Thursday, and then I'm like, whoa, it's going to be a lot of days. But now it's gone by very fast.
Yeah.
I felt identical. Like this is my second year on the operations side of it, and when Thursday night came to an end, I was like, oh boy, it felt like, to me, what Saturday felt like last year. But now I don't want it to end. It's like so
Last
cool.
day.
It's like,
At least we got the sun back out. This is amazing.
Yes.
well, just so we've got the Loud and Live Sports Podcast. We are at Wadapalooza Sunday morning, last day, and I'm with two very dear friends, Katrin Davidsdottir and Annie Thorisdottir.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
The daughters.
Excited to be here. Daughters are finally on the podcast.
I want to make sure everybody here sees the little. See, the problem is I know you guys are goofy as hell, and I want people to hear that. But it's always in Icelandic. But I know you're always goofing around.
I know.
The giggling and the. I wish I had a translator for that.
I think you should just learn Icelandic.
You know
We have
what?
figured that out, that you're part European.
I don't think everyone should hear the stuff we say. It's a good thing not everyone.
So we're not going to talk. We're not going to talk about what you talk about.
It is like a really fun thing to have like your own little secret language when you just need to like speak to each other. Just like you can just like flip in a second and then like, oh, okay, we're back.
Does that, like, you guys have competed against each other a ton. Does that help you get through those weekends? Do you guys do a lot of that at the games or regionals that you've been at together? Like where you'll have those moments where you'll, just goof around about something or see something and say something in Icelandic.
I definitely think it keeps us like very, just like it's so normal because that's what we do every day in like training or day to day, or we call each other. And I think it's so like those weekends are so stressful and they're so high stake, and everyone is so like when we're on the floor and before, like we're not speaking to each other right before. But like once we come off, it's so good to just have Annie and just laugh about something that happened, just talk about it. And it's like normal. It's an Icelandic.
You don't feel like it's gonna be stupid or something because not everyone are gonna be able to hear what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
So you can talk about your mistakes or
and
whatever
you think
happened.
in Icelandic, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you think in Icelandic, so it's easier to like just throw it out and say it. And I know that not everyone is gonna know what I'm saying, and even if there's cameras around, I'm still like, oh, it's fine. Like, it's not like they're going to put subtitles on this right now. Like, you can share these things.
We're going to try to avoid that. You guys have such a special relationship, and I love watching it. Mm-hmm. It's so genuine. You two adore each other. I mean, and
absolutely.
I think we have such a special relationship, too. It's like, I started CrossFit because I saw Annie on TV. She won the CrossFit Games, so it's like, wow, like, I want to do that.
I should have told her this sport is not for her.
She was actually quite the opposite, yeah.
I think that to me sort of, well, I knew you guys before Katrin won. But I think that was a really cool moment in general for me, just genuinely how happy you were for her, knowing how crushed you were that wasn't you who stood there that year. And that to me was just,
year.
Yeah, I know how hard that year was.
Oh my God, like it made up for that year being such a difficult year and having to withdraw. It was odd to me how quickly I could go away from like thinking about myself and go just straight into like, okay, what can I do to help Katrin out to win the games this year? Like, obviously I always want to win, but all of a sudden it's like, well, if it's not gonna be me, it better be this girl.
That's called love. Legit,
and on the
right?
flip side, that's one of the hardest things that I've had to go through in competition is seeing her withdraw and still having to keep a straight face and like, let's go do this. But like to me, I'm on the opposite side where like if I get to go out on the floor and she doesn't, like I better hell like do it. I'm fighting for the both of us.
Yeah, I think it was the beginning of the week. I did a podcast. It was a British guy, and he was asking me about the relationships within the competitors. And and I talked a little bit about yours is one of the it's the strongest amongst people who compete against each other. And I described it as like I think they would eat each other's esophagus out to win. because I know you two independently are two of the most competitive people I've ever been around in my life, or looked at in any sport. Never mind just CrossFit, but they're best friends. It's like it's fascinating to me. Like I mean, do you guys ever when you're on the floor? Does your relationship affect your performance at all?
Not at all. Yeah.
No.
I think if anything, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for each other, and I definitely wouldn't be here, and I definitely wouldn't have won the games if it, for Annie to do that. That gave me the belief of oh wow, if she can, it's crazy to think you're going to be the best in the world at anything. But having someone so close to you go through all those things with you, on hard days it makes it more fun. And I also we've been talking a lot about this lately actually, is how much women supporting other women is important.
Yep.
It's also, I don't think we can take it for granted, our relationship. Sometimes I just wake up and I write Katrin that I miss her, and then I'm I cannot believe that we found each other. It sounds stupid to say it, but it is so strange to have someone that you're competing against, and I want to say I compete alongside, but that we get to share this journey together, and someone that understands, she understands everything that I go through. I understand everything that she goes through. It's not just some of it. We understand all of it, and we get to share it with each other. We get to talk about everything. We can talk about the ups, we can talk about the downs, we can talk about what stresses us out, we can talk about sponsorships, we can talk about obligations, we can talk about sports psychiatrists. We can talk about everything.
We can do it so
and that is
open-mindedly.
so rare to have with another person, yet along have with a competitor of yours. Sometimes I don't understand how we got so lucky.
I know. I feel
it is weird.
I feel the exact same way, and
Yeah,
I think it is so important. I want to be able to share this. This is so special what we have, and I feel I think women in this world tend to pull each other down when they start getting successful, because we see it as such success as a finite thing. If she is successful, she's going to take away from my success. But I truly and honestly believe that we're going to push each other higher. And the more success she gets, the more then all right, I can see that as all right, that's potential. The more successful I get, we're just pushing each other higher. And I think we need to start doing that all over the world.
Yeah, and you guys talk a lot about that and empowering women, and I think you see what you see it globally different than the way you see it at home, right? And it's been something I've learned a lot through the two of you being able to experience the culture of Iceland, which is a piece of my heart has that place.
One of the coolest things, and I'm sure you agree with this, is when someone is good at something in Iceland, let's just say we can't kick a ball to save our own lives, but if the men's soccer team make it to the World Cup, we are so good at soccer.
Yes.
And then we do good at CrossFit, and someone's never entered a gym, we are so good at CrossFit. It's always a we. We're such a herd country. And I think that that puts together a togetherness feeling, which
cool.
then again, we support each other. We have so many strong female role models. We had the first female president of the entire world in 1980, Fittest Woman. We had so many strong athletes. And I think that shows us we're not afraid to be strong. We're not afraid to take up space in this world.
You and we, I know the answer to this, but we've talked a little bit about this. Tell people, you want to, and there's no timeline on it, but you plan on spending time together sharing that with the world, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We have so many ideas and so many things we want to do. It's one of the best lunches we have together is when we sit down and we just...
Annie brings a book and I talk. And
yes.
Annie always has a pen and paper. She's the organized one.
Organized and I need to
live
write
up in the
everything.
clouds.
Yeah, it's great. We work really good together. But those are the best brainstorming. I've written down pages of ideas that I have that I want to do, and then Katrin comes and she's with something completely different,
Yeah.
but all of it goes together.
We have a great balance. I think we have our
Yeah.
like core, like who we are, and our cores align. But then we are so different. And like I tend to like go up in the clouds, and I have all these like great ideas. And Annie is much more of like she's organized and she's a doer. And I think like for us to come together, like we can do some amazing things. And I really like we're talking about like I really want to share what we have and how much it has given us. And when we are at these events, there's nothing more that like it gives me so much when people come up to us and tell us about they saw us or they've watched us on TV or the CrossFit Games or read my book, and because of that there's something that they connected with and they want to be better, and that like lights something within me, and I want to be able to share that all over the world. And it's probably just because we can connect the most with it. Our brand, we want to call it Daughter, because it just means so much to us. And when it's the most when young girls come up to us and they're inspired. And it is hard to be a teenager. And like you couldn't pay me enough money to be 16 years old again. But like to be, yeah.
I have one.
I would
Trust
love
me.
to be
It's hard to be
16
a
again.
dad
What
of
do
a
you mean?
teenager.
Do all of this again? Like,
I know, but to be able to like, girls can be so mean to one another. And
Yes.
I want to be able to share. I want them to be able to grow up and believe that they can do whatever they want. I want them to be able to grow up and believe that they can be strong and healthy and have these role models. And I want them to support their friends. I want them to support them to be better and to be inspired by someone who's better than them, not envious. We want to be able to share that message.
and also just knowing that they are going to be better and stronger if they do it together. It is going to be more fun to do it with your friends, with your partners. Like, it isn't one or the other.
Yeah.
It is about succeeding together.
Oh, that's so cool. You know, I'm looking at the two of you, and the thought is, and as you kind of, project that message, I mean, my daughter is a perfect example of what you will, do for more of the world. You guys are her role models, and there's a generation of girls. You were Katrin's role model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I know my daughter better than anyone, and when she gets to when Katrin will FaceTime with her, the way she lights up is crazy.
My little Abby.
And she looks up. You guys are helping define for her what is okay, that there are no boundaries to, she
What
doesn't
we
know
can do.
there's so much out there.
We can do anything we want to do.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's okay, and nobody wears that better than the two of you, right? You two are just you're incredibly gifted, hardworking athletes on that side. But you're so focused on that and every piece. We talked for an hour yesterday about, your habit,
That's one of the things too that let's just take it out. Let's say you don't have to have people with you to be successful, but let's I think Annie talked about it, I talked about it, Matt talked about it. We all talk about how you don't even want to get to a place. It's never about achieving something. It's never about that goal. It's about the journey to get there and who you do it with
And who's going to
who
be there.
Yeah. It just it makes it so much more special and incredible. I think you're going to go further together, but you're definitely going to have so much more fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, what is from a competitive perspective, and obviously, I mean, and it's been announced, Annie is expecting her first child.
Yes.
Congratulations.
A little games,
Thank
baby.
you.
I don't know. I'll tell Katrin, I don't know who's more happy for you, me or Katrin. I mean, and I
Wow,
mean that.
she was literally the one you got to know half an hour after I knew.
It was this is my best kept secret. I've been so
Wasn't
excited.
that was a really good conversation between Katrin and I, because you told me and you basically were and this is the business Annie was I will rip your throat out if you tell me. She didn't say it like that, but it was this is nobody but you knows, and I'm okay. And so we she knew and I knew, but I didn't know she knew. And when it finally came out, I was hey, did you know about that? She's why did you? And I was oh wow, we did good.
That's how you know that you had the right people around you. It's a good group. There were only selective few that got to know, and it did not spread at all.
Nah, well, I mean,
yeah, it's exciting.
You're
It's
excited?
definitely going to be a change. I'm really nervous about it, but I'm also very excited. I've always known that I want to have a family. And it was bound to happen at some point. Frederick has been ready for years, but I feel like it's a little bit different as a female athlete. But yeah, it is pretty exciting, and I'm also super excited that it's gonna be another daughter that we're gonna have.
That's amazing. You're having your girl.
Yes, I'm having a girl.
Have you picked a name?
No, well, yes, I kind of have, but
Katrin Davidsdottir. Katrin Frederiksdottir.
Katrin Frederiksdottir. No, but like in Iceland, it's a secret. You don't tell until like 1 or 2 months after you have the kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
really?
That's
It's
when
crazy.
you
Yeah, I know. In the U.S., you're like you have to put it when you're at the hospital. In Iceland, you're like, I think everyone has ideas, but then you have to get to know your baby and like look
Yeah.
at it on your baby. You don't tell
Really?
You have to
anyone.
make
Yeah.
sure that it fits with the baby.
So
Yeah.
what? Like this is so you go home and it is over there. What
Yeah.
do you call it?
When you're at home, you start calling her by the name that you're gonna call her.
Yeah.
And then so many times people change their mind. It's like, oh, it doesn't fit with her. Like you need to get to know the baby like a little bit.
That's cool.
Before you know that this is gonna be the name that you're gonna have the connection with. So you might have like 1 to 3 names that you're like figuring out throughout, and then you test the names out a little bit with your baby before. Not even your like, no one knows. Not even your parents or anyone. And then it's always like just revealed at this like naming ceremony or
It's a christening or a naming
whatever
ceremony.
you
Yeah.
decide to do. Yeah.
That is. I did not know that. You guys have never shared that with me.
We have a lot of funky traditions.
That's not funky. That's incredible. I love
It
your
is a fun
traditions.
tradition. Yeah.
You guys
have
have
some good ones.
You guys have incredible traditions. Like what?
We have a few very good ones.
Yeah.
What are like? Are there any others around children that you know?
Like our Santa Clauses, we have 13 of them.
Yeah.
And they all have different personalities. Like one is like little and cute, and like one will steal candles, and
They're
one-
all kind of naughty.
yeah,
They're
one will
like,
slam the doors, and they each comes like 13 days before Christmas. They start coming down to the
from
city.
the mountains.
Yeah.
So they live in the mountains with their scary ass mom. And their mom, she takes the naughty children. If you're naughty, then she takes them up to the mountains, boils them, and eats them. So that's how you
children.
raise your kids. Like
that's Santa.
You're
how
like,
you
she's
get them
gonna
to
come
be
take
good.
you if you're not good. And you're like, okay.
That's Santa's mom.
Oh wow.
And then, yeah, it's 13, and they come one at a time from the mountains, and you have a shoe in the window, and the kids get presents in their shoe from the Santa Clauses.
Well, except if you're bad, then they give you a potato.
Then you get a coal or a potato.
Coal.
I used to
We do
get a
coal
potato.
here, right?
I got
Yeah.
a potato if I was bad.
It was usually a potato.
Did you ever get a potato?
I did get a potato.
So I feel like
I
coal
never
is like
got a potato.
I know, Annie would never do anything bad.
I feel like coal is a thing, but it's not a thing. Like I've never heard like a parent actually
Oh,
execute.
parents do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Like for sure. If the kid doesn't behave and doesn't go to bed, like you're gonna get a potato in your shoe.
I wasn't nice to my brother that day.
And you got
Yeah.
a potato for Christmas.
I got a potato. No, for like one of the
Leading
days.
up. One of the
okay,
days.
so
Yeah.
that makes,
Yeah.
that's
But we don't have like a stocking. You know,
Yeah.
so we get like these presents, and then the last one, which is on the 24th, because that's when we celebrate Christmas Eve. Then we get like a little bit of a bigger present that morning, and then we don't open our presents till 6 p.m. Like everyone has dinner at 6 p.m. and opens their presents after dinner.
no,
And then we have like New Year's, and then like 13 days after
and light
Christmas.
fireworks off everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yes.
It's the best.
And then you have kind of like the second day of fireworks. That's 13 days after Christmas, because after the 24th, 25th, then the first Santa Claus goes away, second goes away. So when the 13th goes away, we blow up fireworks again to say goodbye to Christmas. And then Christmas is officially over, and people take down their decorations.
I know you guys well. I didn't know all of this. All you have to do is watch both of your Instagram stories around New Year's.
Oh my gosh.
That's incredible what goes on in Reykjavik.
It's ridiculous.
Like
it's
the
so
whole
much fun.
skyline for hours.
Yeah.
These aren't like your low grade fireworks. These are like industrial fireworks going off in
people
people's
spend
backyards.
tens of thousands.
My
And
family
maybe up
spends
to, like,
ridiculous
10,000,
amount
yeah.
of money on fireworks.
And like it just makes everyone so happy that everyone does it.
Are there,
But
like, are there
the
issues?
people
For good causes.
who sells them?
It's like the rescue squad.
Yeah.
So if
So-
people get stuck in the glaciers or car gets stuck or whatever, you need to go look for people out
So
in
that's
nature.
why
Like,
everyone thinks it's okay to spend the money. 'cause
yeah,
it
it
goes
goes
towards
for
them.
good cause.
So my first trip to Iceland, I got a tour from Katrin's grandfather.
No.
Oh, I was like from Katrin.
No.
Oh my,
no.
why
No,
did you hear?
Ben and Heather got a tour for me, and I was like, there's such a good story about this church. And they're like, yeah, what is it? I was like, oh, I can't remember, but it's a good one. They're like, are you kidding me?
So
I was like,
good.
no. So my grandpa took them again, and it was
He's,
really
I
good.
mean,
That's
nobody's
good.
prouder of, I mean, you guys are all very proud of Iceland, but he's the history, like, he has it all.
Everything. He's
well-
been a part of the history. He knows the history. And then once he retired, he's like such a worker. He's always been. And he retired. He was so bored that he went to tour guiding school and learned everything about Iceland.
We were, actually, one of my friends is competing here. He was with us, Mike Dudevore from the
Yeah,
Swamp.
yeah.
But we were having a blast with him because everything came back to Iceland. Like, he was just like, World War II started here. We were like, what?
What do you mean? Let me explain.
But he was talking about like inventing, poetry or something. Like we're out because isn't there was like some famous book out in the hills
Yeah.
but thousands of years of history, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
And do you guys do you have? This is getting off on a tangent on this, but we'll end here. But like, do you have ancestors that you've traced back that far, like 1,000 years, 500
We
years?
have this thing called Icelanders.
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is the Book of Icelanders. So it's all the way from the settlers. And you can see, like, your family tree go. You can trace your family tree.
So it's a
most people
website.
really, really far back down. And now it's in a website. And yes, it was true what people heard about the app. We had the app where you went downtown and you met someone and then you made sure that you were not related. But that was more as a joke because we are all related somehow. But yeah, I traced it back to like one of the oldest settlers, Thorisdottir, like with them. But like he was one of the old badasses. So it's kind of fun to say that you're related, but obviously it's like back to year 1,100. Like
No, I think it was 874. That's when they
that was
settled.
the settlers, yeah. But Snorri and those guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't turn up right away.
They,
So late.
they were the first
Better late
ones.
than never.
Tossing some stats out there, Kat. I like it.
Yeah.
But, I think it's often talked about is the success of the Icelandic people in our sport.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard you guys like specifically talk about it. I mean, I know it's because you guys both work your ass off. So it's not. I think that's more of it than anything. What do you think from history? What do you think from your upbringing? There's 4 or 5 of you that are out of a country of 330,000 people. I don't think people realize that's like my hometown.
No, that's insane.
Yeah.
That go and are in the top. The super, what I would call super elite of the sport.
I think Katrin kind of hit it with like earlier when she was talking about we had like the first female president in Iceland. We have, I think, the most equal gender equality
We're always
in the
number one
world.
of the
We're
two.
always on the top of the list. Like it is, strong women are just embraced, and because it's embraced, it's never looked down upon. It was funny when I first started doing interviews in CrossFit, I so often got the question like, yeah, so how do people around you feel about a girl with so much muscles? Like, do you ever get comments about that, or is it looked down upon? And I'm like, what kind of questions are these? Because I had
I
never
hadn't even thought about it.
no, I hadn't even thought about it until I started getting these questions from people. I'm like, damn, do people look at it like that? Because I never got that in Iceland. Obviously, I'm around a lot of very fit people and I surround myself with athletic people, but I never had the feeling that I was doing something wrong. It was cool what I was doing. It's cool to be strong. It's cool to be fit. It's cool to be athletic. And it's definitely cool to be the best at something in the world. So like it was.
But that's still kind of insane to go for that, and you did that. And
Yes.
like, I at least had you. I don't know how you went to the top like right away, but I at least had you. And I feel like it's so easy to excuse yourself from like, I don't have the same genetics. I have different coaches. I have a different environment. But as like, I always bring like Usain Bolt as my example. Like he has different genetics. Like they've theoretically in my head, like they have better genetics for sprinting in Jamaica. Like that's a big culture thing there. Like the coaches that he has there, it's like it's so easy to be like, I have no
To
clue
find
what he
excuses.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it was you, it was like we had the same gymnastics coach growing up. You have like my best friend who I did gymnastics with did pole vaulting with you. It was just Annie. She went to the same gym as me, and it was like, I can't excuse myself from that. And if she can, so can I. And it wasn't that I saw it was easy. I saw it was possible. And I honestly think that the fact that there are so few of us like helps, because the closeness is so much. There are no excuses.
Yeah. And I think it is a little bit imprinted in us to challenge ourselves. I feel like I'm not saying this as always a positive thing, but even at my gym, like, I feel like it's very different environment at CrossFit Reykjavik in some of the classes than, for example, when I go to Denmark or like other parts of the world. And like Denmark is very close to us culturally and everything, but I feel like the competitiveness from a normal member, it's a little bit absurd. Sometimes at the gym, you're like,
oh, I can attest to this.
It's like, you can lower the weight a little bit. You're not ready for this yet. Like it was honestly, it was a battle for us. The first years was like getting people to calm down a little, take down the intensity, and focus more on the quality of the movements. Like it was a struggle in the beginning. Now it's gotten a lot easier. People have gotten smarter with it and listen to everything that you have to say. But it is a little bit like of a different mindset. And the girls that come in, like I think we have more women than men doing CrossFit in Iceland.
Oh, really? So that's your gym is more men than women. I mean, more women than men.
Yeah, and you can just tell that it's like it's so supportive. Like the girls are pushing each other and cheering each other on, and the guys are the exact same way. They are pushing their girlfriends. They're telling them they can do this. Like it's that like pushing each other to become better is the constant mindset, and it is something really special about it, and that's why I think CrossFit fits so well into the Icelandic society.
It boomed. It caught on right away.
Isn't it interesting though that I think for a while you guys, that's your normal.
Yeah.
And I think what you're realizing now more globally is like you feel a responsibility to project that and share that message. Absolutely. Because that's not normal.
Especially when I went, so I went to Seoul in Korea, and I went there with Reebok, and it was when like CrossFit was kind of starting a little bit there. And then we had dinner we met up with a bunch of the members and took pictures, and they didn't speak very good English, but like I got to communicate a little bit. And then I went to dinner with this guy that was running the gym, the CrossFit gym, and his girlfriend, and she was also like, she was a huge CrossFit fanatic, like a big fan and so enthusiastic about it. And then she sat next to me and she was like, what does Fredrik think about you you being so strong and you having so like your upper body being so big? And she's like, I love it. I think it's so beautiful. And I'm like, well, he supports me and whatever I want. He pushes me when I don't believe that I can do something. Fredrik adds more weight on the bar, and he's like, I know you can do this. Like, he gives me that confidence boost. And she was like, oh, he doesn't want me to train that much. He doesn't want me to get bigger. I'm like, wow, you're the owner of the CrossFit gym, and you don't want your girlfriend, to train too much because you're worried that she's gonna get too big. And honestly, like, that's the biggest misconception I feel like women get when they start CrossFit is, first of all, we train 6 to 8 hours a day, and I work really hard for my muscles. I'm gonna get very irritated if you go to the gym 3-4 times a week and you wake up with bigger muscles than I have. Like, I work my ass off.
It doesn't happen accidentally.
No, and it's gonna like come gradually. You're not gonna just one day wake up, look in the mirror and like, oh my gosh, I got biceps and I have a six-pack. It's like, it's a gradual thing, and it's nothing that you're gonna have to worry about. Like, you can make a decision, and it takes a little bit more than looking at the weights to get those muscles. But it was kind of a shock to me that the owner of the gym felt like this. already, but that's the cultural change, and that's what I feel like has been changing throughout the years, that we have started getting more and more support, and I will never say that women are supposed to look the way I look or look the way Katrin looks.
They're supposed to look the way they want to look.
Right?
The way they want to look, yes. What makes you feel good. If you feel good in your own skin, you're going to be happy and you're going to be successful, and that's the most important thing.
I think one of the best things I saw, this was a couple weeks ago, Amanda Barnhart posted, someone had asked her about her muscles that were reserved for men or something. She just goes, muscles don't gender discriminate. They are for humans. And it was one of the best things I've ever seen. You have to work hard for them, whether you're a man or a woman, and you've earned them. If that makes you happy and healthy, then they're yours.
Yeah, that's and this is personal for me with you guys. Is, I think I always hear, not always, but enough in the media, like, oh, there's something in the water, or it's the genetics. You guys work your ass off.
We work our ass off.
Yes.
I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. Like, you guys literally grind as hard as anybody I've ever been around in my life. So it's not genetics.
And we try to be super honest with that, because I don't want people to think that we have something that they don't have. I don't want people to think that we can do something that they can't. I want to show them that if they want to do it, they can, but they better be willing to put in the work.
That's even it's been a little irritating to me, because I kind of wanted to think that I was special. I was like, I took the VO2 max test, and I was hoping that my results were going to be abnormally high. That's why I can breathe and continue forever. And it's well, they're definitely on the higher end, but they're normal. It's not Rich Frowning, outrageous. And then I've done a lot of, because of my heart, I've done a lot of testing, and I got so irritated with my doctor. He's checking out my heart and the size and everything. He's oh, wow, I'm so surprised. I'm what? What is surprising? He's your heart is so small. I'm
oh, you're heartless.
Damn it. It's so small. That means that it needs to pump that much faster for me to do anything. I'm I got no special things there's no superpowers. Yeah. I thought I was a Wonder Woman or something. Wow. It was well, I guess I'm normal, but it just means that I've worked my ass off, and that means that anyone can do it, but it's going to be a lot of hard work. But I thought it was funny. You did mention, though, that we don't have anything special in Iceland. I have to say we are really, really lucky with the quality of meats and the quality of products that we have.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until I traveled to the United States for the first time. You guys also have the quality of meats and everything, but I went into the supermarket and I was trying to choose cheese, and I had no idea what to pick, because you had 50 different things to choose from. In Iceland, you have 2 things that you can choose from. It's that company or that company, but it's all it's the same. And the same with the meats. When I heard about grass-fed meats, I'm what?
What is that?
What is the other thing?
That's
we
cool.
only
what would the
have
animal
grass-fed.
eat if they don't have grass? It was, I learned a lot when I started traveling, and a lot of things that I took for granted in Iceland.
Well, well, I mean, you both have a lot going on. We could talk for days about this. What you're running an event. Let's talk about your event. So you have you're a sanctioned.
I'm going to say Katrin is kind of running it with me.
Oh, I have got to be a part of it.
Really? I like this. this.
I've been looking quite a lot to her about ideas and what she likes, and we've gone through
a lot of fun
so
Should
many.
be programmed by daughter.
Yeah. No,
we did that last year.
We did,
but
a
I have
daughter
been doing
event.
some testing, and it's been fun to have the
Yeah.
input.
Great.
And I know all the venues too. Both of us, the venue that we compete in is the biggest in Iceland, and it's in the middle of this huge sport complex, and that's where we used to compete in gymnastics when we were little. So Annie's there walking around. She's sending me videos oh my gosh, you remember this? I'm oh my gosh, I do. This is where we used to buy grilled cheese in between our events.
Which is why I'm gonna have grilled cheese also at the event. I'm I have to. It's what we used to have when we were kids.
You did a phenomenal. I'm really proud of you. Last year I went to just support you, see what you're doing, both of you, and you did a beautiful workout together. it is an awesome event.
You know what?
It was amazing, and I have to say, like, I was so proud and happy with the event last year, and I was not running a lot of it there. There I was more just like giving an input, what I thought would be cool here, I thought would be cool there, but we had like this team, there were mainly like 3 guys that did this, like Snorri, Baron, Hjörtur, and Svanna, like they took a big charge on what they were doing. I had no idea how much work goes into running and putting on an event like this, and all of a sudden I'm starting to like take on, I'm like, yes, I have more time this year because I'm not competing myself, so like I'm gonna take on more responsibilities, and jeez, it's really hard. I cannot imagine the work that goes into this event, but like it's stressful. I want it to be so perfect, and I have a vision of what I want and how I want to have things, and like all of a sudden it's up to me to like make those things happen. Obviously I still have a lot of people that are helping with it, but I feel like all of a sudden like I'm overseeing it, and that's, wow, people that do that, it's a lot of work.
I mean, we've talked a lot about it, but like I think I know you well enough. You're doing it, I think, the way you should, so that then you can kind of like go and sit a little more at 10,000 feet, because your life is doing shit for yourself and getting it done, right? It's like you do the hard, and you want to know, and I know you're learning how hard it is and how many moving pieces, but it's going to make that event even better for the long term, and you'll be a better business person for it.
Exactly. I'm taking it as a life lesson. Like, I have learned so much throughout the years, and competing at events, being behind the scenes a little bit, like doing different things, being with Katrin, like coaching, running my own gym, like now this as well. I feel like I am very business oriented, and I love statistics, I love data, I love organization, I love my notebooks and my plans, and like I love systems, and I love being able to affect changes, positive changes in a way that I envision things the way I want to have them. And I feel like I am taking this, yes, this is hard and might not be something that I'm going to do in the future, but I am learning so much from this. So I'm just going to take it as that. I'm going to take everything I can as a learning experience.
And for me, being on the flip side too, like I have a whole new respect for competing at these events after, number one, watching you take over Waterpalooza and run this, and for you to do RCC, I'm like, wow, like I am so used to, I mean, we work our asses off all year, but then we show up and everything is ready and it runs smoothly, and you kind of like take for granted everything, like all the volunteers or the judges, all the year of planning that has gone into it, all these booths, like everything running on time, like the chips, it's like there's these millions of pieces that you hadn't even thought about, and I'm just like, when I go out in the floor, I'm like, wow, okay.
It was definitely a new respect for all volunteers. I'm like, I always think after every competition we've done, you do like that thank you post for your team and all of that, and then it's like, and thank you to volunteers and spectators. And now I'm like, my God, thank you. Like, thank you to the volunteers and spectators. Like, you are the ones that make this event, and it wouldn't be happening if you weren't on the floor and thinking about the volunteers at the CrossFit Games, or the long days that you have standing out in the sun judging. Like, a judge is doing a perfect job if he's invisible. That's what it should be. Right. Like, you're keeping the rep count. Hopefully you're not having to give too many no reps. Like, it's about letting the athlete do what the athlete's supposed to do. We know how we're supposed to be moving. Obviously you need to make sure that you're keeping that line, but if you're too noticeable, you're probably doing something wrong as a judge. And then you never get the praise you deserve, because if you're invisible, you're doing it right, and you're not gonna get the like, good job. You know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
It's a hard job. I can't imagine being a judge. I've jumped on the floor a couple of times. I've judged in the open. a couple of times.
I used to get so pissed off when judges can't count double unders, and then I think I was judging you once, and I was like, oh no, it's like I can't count double unders.
It's really hard.
I can't count double unders. I had a what was that thruster double under workout?
And you were with me in California, and you're like, I'm not judging you.
Oh yeah, I did that, and then I in Madison, when we all went to Madison that year with Matt and Cole and Brooke, and we did it all together.
Yeah.
I judged Matt, and there's actually a really good YouTube video of him and I fighting basically through the whole workout, and he was like, I did 39, and I'm like, oh fuck. He's like, stop, and he's like, dude, I just did 50, and I'm like, you told me to stop counting. Like, I didn't know what to do. And at the end, I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. I probably just screwed your whole thing up, and he won the workout in the world. But
it is so stressful.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the volunteer is a crew that I'd be okay with them on the other end of a rope if I was hanging off a cliff. The volunteer corps in this space is unbelievable. They roll deep and they care, and they wear the event on their sleeve, right? I mean, Well, what's in store for RCC? I mean, you guys are. Well, it's news to me, and it's amazing that you're working and helping. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. We want to do something together, and it's a little
But
like.
tell them what it is, by the way. RCC, in case
Reykjavik CrossFit Championships.
Okay. And when is it?
Oh, that's the 3rd to 5th of April.
Okay, cool.
In Iceland, in Reykjavik, and yeah, we're still figuring out exactly what we're gonna do, because last year we did the daughter event against each other,
which was awesome.
It was kind of a workout we made up together, and now I'm like, I'll probably be a little bit too big to do something like that. I probably shouldn't be doing bar muscle ups maybe at that time. So we're gonna have to figure something else out. We haven't quite decided what that's gonna be yet.
We're still brainstorming that.
And Sarah's gonna be there as well. She's gonna be doing the partner
awesome
gauntlets.
to have her do something
hoping
with us too.
The 3 of us will do something together. I think that would be pretty epic.
Yeah.
That's special. That's
the daughters coming together.
It's so rare that all 3 of us get to be in the same place at once. So that would be fun.
You in Dubai paid a nice tribute to you and used that workout in their event this
that
year.
almost made me cry.
We were also all supposed to be on the floor together. How cool would it have been if we all would have done it together?
Yeah, they said that. They're like, man, we wish they were all here. It would have been really,
so did
cool.
we. We're like, no.
That's
but
great.
That was very cool. I'm happy that they did it. It gave it even more validation, and all the people that have been tagging me in their posts and videos when they've been doing the daughter workout. It's pretty cool.
I like watching it. I'm good.
We like doing it.
Yeah, I know you like doing it.
It's a fun workout.
I can scale it. I'll do your weight.
Yeah.
Well, what about you? What where are you going to be, and what are you doing this year?
Well, my plan was to be competing here.
Yes.
But I injured my back in Dubai, so I'm back in training. It's feeling so much better, but I just wanted an extra couple weeks to just fully feel ready and trust my back again. And I mean, I wasn't too sad about it because I was actually so excited about West Coast. I really miss regionals, and everyone was always talking, well, Europe, I love the European one, but everyone was always talking about the Southern California one too, and the venue there, and how loud it was, and how incredible it was, and that's been one of the ones that, and all the Southern California girls, when we started CrossFit, it's one of those venues that I can't wait to compete at. So it wasn't a hard decision for me to all right, sucks that I can't compete right now. And this is actually the first time that I ever spectate an event and I'm watching people compete. And I love it because I get to do things like this and I get to meet all these people and be in the booth. And it is fun, but I definitely am I get the urge, I love being on the competition floor. So 4 weeks in, I'll be at West Coast, super excited about that. I'll fly and be at RCC. And then back in Boston, train for Rogue. And after Rogue, which is in May, that's lockdown mode for me, and that's it for the summer.
Your
so
favorite time of year.
Getting ready for the games.
I will tell you something.
Is my favorite time of year.
It started to float around a little bit, and I don't know that you probably heard it because we are making it public knowledge, but West Coast Classics programming is all regional and games workouts.
Hey! Oh my gosh!
Yes.
That is cool.
This just made me so much more excited now.
Yeah, I knew. I think I said to you a week ago, I'm I think you'll like it.
That's awesome.
I believe you.
We actually did the same for the RCC.
Oh,
we're gonna
yes.
have all regional. We picked a year at regionals, and we're gonna have it all inspired by that year.
You know how hard it is to program it, right? And it's
And regionals were just the coolest.
It's easy. Those guys do a great job. Like we can just use that and
Yeah.
celebrate
Why invent the wheel?
what those workouts and
might make them a little bit harder or change them up a little, but
100%.
absolutely.
And it's like that workout we did. The hero workout first. You can look at that from a lot of different perspectives, and it was questionable for us how we went about it with the bag on the back. But I think the one thing that comes out of that workout is it shows how cool it is, how much you guys are evolving. I mean, think about that, Annie. You couldn't do a muscle up at your first games, and there were a woman doing 7 unbroken muscle ups for 3 rounds with a bag on their back with weight in it.
It's so cool to see how
it's so
sports
cool
evolving.
to see the change, and also to see just like they're always pushing the boundaries a little bit, and every year is like, whoa, they expect us to do this. That's crazy, and then you figure out that you can. I think that's the crazy thing. Like once they put in that super heavy dumbbell at regionals, all the girls are like, oh my gosh, we can't snatch this. Like that's too heavy. And now it's, everyone could do it. And now people can toy around with it because they got that confidence. Like, oh, we're supposed to be able to do this. I guess we can. Like, that's how cool it is. How now all of a sudden it's like, all right, doing muscle ups with a backpack on your back. I guess we can. And then you can. Like,
we were nervous about it, but I think it went really well overall.
It was good.
That
was a cool event.
Those guys did a really good job with it. But yeah. Well, I want to, listen, we'll do like 20 more of these over the next...
We could stay on here forever.
But
Yes. Sit here and talk,
I want to...
Like,
it's what we talk about anyway. We sit here, we're always chatting, so now we have it recording.
I couldn't be more grateful that you guys chose to be here and not compete, because I know that can be a lot,
It's been really
your
fun.
first time here in Miami. I'm really proud of that.
My first time at Whataburger, and I can't believe I haven't done it before. Like, that's the feeling I'm having now. I'm like, why haven't I gone here before?
We'll have to make that happen with the baby in tow.
I already told Frederick, I'm like, okay, so that will be my goal. Next year will be this event.
Oh, wow. That's great. Well,
it
let's
might be a tight timeline, but like, we'll see.
We'll see. At least we'll be here in the
Well,
sun
we're
having
in.
fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for taking the time
so much
out.
for having us on.
You're going to have a little bit of a left arm
I know,
suntan.
I'm nervous about that.
Yes.
We'll
so
balance that
here.
out. We're going to get you in some shade, take care of that baby. But
It's good. I'm working on getting some color.
Thank you guys.
We'll get it at home.
And, have a great rest of the weekend here.
Thanks,
We'll
Thank
get
you.
to watch some fun stuff tonight.
Yeah.
I want you guys to wrap us up from Miami. So I've Annie and Katrin, the daughters.
What are we saying?
What are
We're
we
done?
saying?
Cut?
Cut. Thank
That's it.
Thank
Perfect.
you,
Do I click the thing
Miami.
again? Yeah.
All right. Press the
Katrin,
button.
You know
Press the button, and we're out.